Welcome back to the nationally recognized Real Estate Radio Network's Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Radio Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Make sure to get great information or ask your important questions at donandgino.com. Now, back to your friends, Don and Gino.
Welcome back to donandgino.com. Check us out. That is an incredible site that has been growing and building for 3 years now. There is so much good information. We're talking over 150 shows. Over 150, probably 160 complete radio shows with some of the best guests in Santa Cruz, period. We're talking CPAs, financial planners, real estate professionals, bankruptcy attorneys, insurance professionals, you name it. There are some great shows on there, and over 300 clips on our YouTube channel. So go to donandgino.com, DONANDGINO.com. Click on the YouTube channel, and there is all kinds of good stuff, fun stuff too, because God knows we have fun here, right, Gino?
We do. And Don, you know, the best thing about the YouTube is if you were to look at our historical shows and you look at the subject matter of the shows when we started 3 years ago, and you look at the subject matters of what we talk about today, it was all about distress. It was all about bankruptcy. It was all about this free-falling economy. And we're no longer there anymore.
Now it's about opportunity.
That's right.
Opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities. Yes, stability, opportunity. In fact, we're going to mention again before we dive in again with Miss Lisa Odom, with McDowell Odom, attorneys at law or trust specialists. Their estate planners are going to help you with that. But really important, we're going to continue to beat you over the head. We can't reach you through the radio, but we're going to try. Those of you that are thinking about buying a home, should be buying a home, thinking about a larger home, thinking about getting rid of mortgage insurance because you're paying it on your FHA loan, which is or your conventional loan, or want to reset that arm before it starts adjusting, now is the time. Yes, we work for a mortgage company. Yes, we'll be glad to help you at Cherry Creek Mortgage, and we have the best people in the world to do that. But as your friends every Thursday, we're going to implore you to take action and at least find out what your options are. Find out what your options are to, we're eliminating so much debt right now. We're eliminating mortgage insurance. We're lowering payments every single day. That's what we do. We're lowering payments. We're like, wow. So for very possibly no cost, no lending costs, I should say. Can't say interest costs. You have to pay interest. Sorry, that's the way it works these days. But for no lending costs, you can possibly lower your payment by hundreds of dollars. We do it all the time.
Yeah, in fact, I'm thinking of one that we're in the midst of doing right now where there's a multitude of things that can happen depending on where the appraised value comes in, and that's obviously a big factor in today's world. However, the worst case scenario is they're going to save $550
I know
a
that
month.
yeah.
And it's not someone who hasn't been diligent. This is someone who every 3 months, every 2 months, we look at the opportunity, we see if it's possible.
For 2 years
For at
now.
least 2 or 3 years, we've been watching this particular client's file. It wasn't possible, it wasn't possible, it wasn't possible. We needed more value, we needed more value, we needed more value. Now it's there.
Yeah, a lot of you don't know how much value, how much your value has increased, whether you want to sell or potential refinance. I mean, values have gone up in a lot of neighborhoods over $100,000.
Yeah, it's a big.
So there's a lot of opportunity for you. So we're just going to implore you, please, if you need to, reach out to us, 855-DON-GINO, 855-DON-GINO, or just go to email us. If you want to be a little discreet, go to donandgino@gmail.com. There's a theme here.
Pretty simple.
Yep, donandgino@gmail.com. Okay, so Lisa, let's have some fun here, because I love Lisa came very well prepared. I got notes and notes, and thank you for being so well prepared. You must be an attorney. Okay.
Guilty as charged.
Wow, that was good.
Hey, I'm sure not a lot of people will hear you say that.
See, Lisa's getting more comfortable here after being on so often. We love that. Lisa is with McDowell Odom, attorneys at law, locally here. You and your mom are an incredible team. So much experience between the two of you. Real peeps. I mean, you guys are real. You're friendly. You're helpful. You care. That's why you're here.
Yep.
We like that. So let's talk about the pros and cons of do-it-yourself estate planning.
And she may not be able to clarify, but I will. So this is if you are planning on using something.com.
There you go.
These are the pros and cons.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Or a software program. That's all I need is this software program, and I can build my own.
Oh, goodness.
Is there some potential flaws in that?
Oh, yeah, just a couple. just a couple little things.
Well, let's start with the pros. That won't take us long.
Sure. Because people ask us about this all the time. Why can't I just do it myself? And, certainly some of those .coms are less expensive, and there's maybe a perception that they're less time consuming. I actually don't know that that's the case, but I can tell you why about that later. And for some simple, very straightforward situations, they actually can work. And there's also maybe a perception that having anything is better than nothing.
Oh, that's a good point, though.
I don't know if that's really true.
I agree, because sometimes that can get you in trouble. Because you think, hey, I have it covered, and this 2 pages of cons versus the mini paragraph of pros, because obviously the pros are it seems easier and less expensive, and something better than nothing. That would be the 3 main ones that I can see.
Absolutely.
God, I can't help but just feel you get what you pay for.
Well, that's always the case. I can also build my own home.
It
Who knows what it's going to look like?
I don't know. I wouldn't remove my own appendix, though. There's a limit to what I'm willing to do.
Good point.
I think, honestly, in my experience, I had a firsthand experience with this. I had a woman who was dying. Excuse me. And
He's all choked up already about
it. And she contacted me about 2 weeks before she passed, saying that she had created one of these wills and trusts on a website, and had wanted me to look at it last minute because she was starting to have second thoughts about what had been done in it and whether it was really correct. And she was so ill that we had to go to her home to actually look at the documents and meet with her. And unfortunately, next to her bed was just a shoebox full of medication. Oh. And one of the changes that she was proposing to make would have been a substantial change to the distribution, and would have provided a basis to challenge what was being done, because whether she really had capacity or not when she was on such strong medication, she was really near death. She was on hospice. So we looked at the documents and we couldn't help her make any revisions. Her doctor would not sign off that she had capacity. That's what we asked for in order to do the changes that she was wishing. So she said, okay, will you just make sure I properly funded everything? And the mistakes were huge. She had accidentally omitted an error.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, oops.
Dad,
that's
Mom.
The really upset person at the distribution
Mom
table.
didn't love me.
Yeah, that was one issue. Another issue, she hadn't signed her pour-over will. And if probably just a little background, when you have a trust, you still want to have a will. They kind of go hand in hand, because what the trust does, the trust sets forth all of your provisions on how you want your estate to be distributed. But the pour-over will capture anything that you, for whatever reason, fail to put into your trust. When we do an estate plan, we help our clients fund their trust. We put their real estate into the trust. Essentially what happens is your assets become owned by the trust, and then you own the trust, kind of like the way a shareholder owns a corporation. The corporation manages the assets of the corporation. So she hadn't signed her pour-over will, and she hadn't funded her trust fully. So without that, all of those those assets would have ended up going by intestate succession laws, which were not consistent with what her wishes were with respect to her estate. So we were luckily able to fix that because she did call, and we were able to help her fund it properly. But like I said, she had omitted an error. There was things that we couldn't change.
And she would have not even caught that, I'm sure.
No, I don't know what. Well, actually, I have.
It's not like you can go back. Did Mom really love me? That's pretty. And you would think, well, I'm sure the other siblings will take care of the other. That's not always the case.
No, it's certainly not the case. I see it all the time. We've had trust administrations, even on the trust situation side, where somebody maybe has a huge IRA. Maybe the parents have a $500,000 IRA, $400,000 IRA, and they only name one sibling as the beneficiary, not because they wanted to disinherit the other siblings, but they assumed that that other sibling would handle
and
share. And they're under no obligation. And they're under no obligation to do so. So if you're not going through these issues, you're assuming that everything is just going to work itself out. And yes, for many families it does, but not for all. And sometimes it's surprising the ones that it doesn't work out for.
It's tragic for the ones it doesn't.
It's tragic. It is tragic. And I can't tell you how many times I get messages from people, well, I got, completely, blindsided by my sibling, or, it's heartbreaking, it's gut-wrenching, and
it's got to be hard to hear.
It's so hard to hear.
When you know that it could have been avoided.
When you know it could have been avoided by just carefully planning.
There's a message here, Gino.
Yeah, there is a message here. In fact, I have a really good question, but
you can't ask it now.
So that Dawn doesn't throw anything at me, I'm going to hold it for later. So
Thank you.
So if you guys want to hear what this question is, I think it's really important because it pertains to exactly what you said, and I think a lot of us feel comfortable with what we have in place, but it's really dangerous.
It is. It's something, what, even if you think you're comfortable with what you have, you've got to look at it every so often. Things change. I mean, they change a lot. Even, for myself, I have small children, they're not that small, but they're not old enough to be, named trustees or anything of that sort. All of those things, those facts of our life and the way that people grow and change, and especially for people who have minor children, I mean, we don't even know what our children are going to be like as adults yet. We assume that they're going to be wonderful, great, productive members of society.
Or
but
they
what
could be like
are?
Gino.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did you guys plot that out before we started the show?
All right. We're having a lot of fun here on the Donna Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. You want to stay tuned for the last segment. We're going to go in a little bit more in depth to the pros and cons of trying to set up your own wills and estates, and some more unfortunate, tragic stories of those who didn't use great advice from someone like Lisa Odom with McDowell Odom, attorneys at law, right here on the Donna Gino Real Estate Finance Show. Don't go away.